Okay. Okay, when we do Chanukah, we've learned the dinim of Chanukah. Now we do a little bit the Gemara of Chanukah. There's a very interesting, a very interesting word that the Gemara says. There's a certain din that there's an argument if what's called kafsa zakah claw. If the menorah, you light the menorah, if it goes out, must you relight it or not? So there's an argument in the Gemara. So the Gemara rules kafsa ain't zakah claw, that once you light the menorah properly, when you lit it, there was enough oil in the thing to light the menorah. So then, even if it went out, you're not obligated to. The custom is you relight it, but you don't have to. You still did the mitzvah. So the Gemara says that they told it to Abaya earlier on in his life in the name of Rabbi Yirmiyah, and he didn't accept it. Then they told it over later on. They told in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, and he accepted it. So Abaya said, "Wow, if I would only have accepted it earlier, it would have been so much better." So the Gemara asks, but he got it anyway, so what's the difference earlier or later? So the Gemara answers, the famous thing was called Girsa de Yankasa. It's a very famous expression. Girsa means learning, Yankasa is when you're young. The Gemara says, what you learn when you're young, you remember forever. So he says, Abaye said, I regret that I didn't accept it in my younger years, because I would have remembered it better than if I accepted just in the older years. It's not very interesting. There's no other place, I don't think it's mentioned any other place in Shas, of Girsa de Yankasa, that what you learn when you're young, you remember. Okay, so now the Gemara says like this. Tana Rabbanon learned. Mitzvah's Chanukah, what is the mitzvah of Chanukah? The actual rabbinic mitzvah of Chanukah. So that issue, by the way, what we just said about kafsa zakah claw, that if you light the menorah and there wasn't enough oil when you lit it, so you're not yaitza. Even if you add it, let's say you need to burn the menorah half an hour, right? So let's say when you lit the menorah, there's only 15 minutes of oil, and you made the bracha. And then afterwards you add a little bit more oil, to make it burn a half an hour, you didn't do the mitzvah. The bracha levatala, you didn't do the mitzvah. But what happens, like what the Gemara says here, if you had the whole proper amount for half an hour and then the candle went out, so you did the mitzvah. This is one of the reasons why you're not allowed to make a bracha on an electric menorah. One of the reasons. You have an electric Chanukah menorah. So Shabbos electric Shabbos candles, most poskim say you could make a bracha. So a woman's in a hospital, she can't use candles. So she can do an electric light and make a bracha. But what happens, Chanukah though, you can't. You can't make a bracha on it. If you have no other menorah, you can make it, it's better to have electric menorah than nothing. But you can't make a bracha on it because you're not actually fulfilling the mitzvah of Chanukah. And one of the reasons why you can't use an electric menorah is because when you have electricity, where you are, you don't have enough electricity to go for half an hour. It keeps drawing more electricity. So one of the reasons, many reasons, but one of the reasons why you cannot be yaitza, because when you're lighting it, then you don't have the proper amount of oil there, so to speak. You just keep adding it, and that's not what. So now the question is, would a battery-operated menorah be better? That's why I said that's not the only reason why it's no good. For that reason, though, it would be good. It would be good. But there are other reasons why you can't use an electric menorah. The question is, is it fire, is it ash, whatever, but that's why I said one of the reasons, because, if you have battery, it's still no good. Okay, anyway, so coming back to the Gemara. The Gemara says, what's the mitzvah of Chanukah? Neri shebesi. One candle per household per night. Like we were learning the dinim, that's the actual mitzvah of Chanukah. You have one candle per household per night, means the first night light one candle, second night one candle, fifth night one candle, and that's it. Mahadrin, you want to be more meticulous. Ner l'chol echad ve'echad. Every person in the house lights one candle per night. So if you have 5 people in the house, first night you have 5 people lighting one candle, second night 5 people lighting one candle, third night one candle. Mahadrin mina mahadrin, if you want to do the best of the best, So then you have an argument. Bishami says the first day you light 8, and from there you keep going down. In other words, the first night you light 8, then 7, then 6, then 5, and so on. Beis Hillel says your first night you light 1, and then you keep going up. And we explained the other day, there's a famous argument between Taisus and Rambam. Taisus over here on the side of the Gemara says that Misham Beis Hillel are not arguing on Mahadran. They're going on the basic mitzvah. That means 1 candle per household. And the second night, you light 2 candles for the whole household. 5th night, 5 candles, but only 1 menorah. That's what Taisus says. The Rambam says no. What the Gemara means is every person has a menorah. Okay, so then the Gemara.
You mentioned the other day that women don't.
Women don't. We're talking about the men in the house. Well, if a woman lives alone, she has to light Chanukah candles. Yeah. Okay. Then the Gemara says like this. So Beis Shammai says you go down. Beis Hillel says you go up. Amar Ula said. There is an argument in Eretz Yisrael between 2 Amiroim, what the reason of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is. Rabbi Yosef bar Rav and Rabbi Yosef bar Zvida. Chado Amar, one of them says like this. Time of the Beis Shammai, what's the reason of Beis Shammai? What's the reason of Beis Shammai that you go 8, 7, 6, 5? He said, how many days there are yet to come? In other words, on the first night, there's 8 days to come. Second day, 7 days to come. That. And the time of the Beis Hillel, you go basically how many days have left. First day, second day. And the second one, the other one says, the reason of Beis Shammai is Keneged Pari Achag. Like on Sukkis, the bulls that they brought, the 70 bulls. So the first day was 13. Then 12, then 11, so it went downward order. So just like by the bulls on Sukkot, you go down, so the same thing Chanukah, you go down. And the reason of Beis Hillel, Malam B'Kodesh V'Meridin. You go up in Kedusha and you don't go down. So that's not for now, maybe tomorrow night, but bottom line is, what L'Cheira, Chassidus asked the question, what does the bulls of Sukkot have to do with Chanukah candles? Because that order goes down, so therefore Chanukah goes down. I mean, what's the connection? And also, what's the difference between these two opinions? If the reason of Beis Shammai is like the bulls of Sukkot or the how many days left, and Beis Hillel says how many days are coming, or the other reason is because Ma'alim B'Kodesh V'Meridin. What's the difference? There will be a halachic difference between them, by the way. And that is what happens if somebody on the 3rd night only has 2 candles. Talking about Beis Hillel now. Now, yesterday you lit 2, right? It's the 3rd night of Chanukah. So yesterday you lit 2. Now, I only have 2 candles. Should I light 2 or should I light 1? Now, why shouldn't light 2 because it's not the 2nd day, it's the 3rd day. So why am I lighting 2? Right? So if you're talking about how many days, according to Beis Hillel, are into Chanukah, right? That's why you go up. So on the 3rd day, you can't light 2 candles because it's not the days of Chanukah. So then you have to go back to the basic mitzvah of 1 candle per night. But if you hold the reason is because in Kedusha you go up and not down, that's the reason, then you should light 2 candles. At least you're not going down. In other words, if you hold the reason is how many days of Chanukah, then you can't light 2 on the 3rd night. But if the reason is because you go up in Kedusha, you don't go down, then on the 2nd night you can light, and the 3rd night you can light 2. What?
I've also heard it say...
I'm expecting a good one.
Staying at the same level, it's like you're going down, but that's not my original question. The original thing was, can you do both? Can you have 2 setups, 2 Hanukiyas, and just do both opinions with 1 bracha?
No, you're supposed to have 1 menorah, not 10 menorahs per person.
Like 2 tefillin, Rashi, and Rabbi Matam, you're doing both of them.
No. Can you make Kiddush in this room and don't go make Kiddush in the next room? But Rashi Rabbeinu Tam. Make Kiddush in this room, don't go make Kiddush in that room. What's the difference?